To help Charlotte Hayes rise to prominence, Ethan Reed plotted against Anna Davis. He specifically hired people to defile Anna Davis and ruin her reputation, and even when Anna Davis was pregnant, Ethan Reed wouldn't relent. This resulted in Anna Davis' uterus being irreparably damaged, her baby lost, and her mental health suffering. Later, Anna Davis also discovered Ethan Reed having an affair in the guest room, and Ethan Reed and Charlotte Hayes even brazenly boasted to her face that they had conspired to harm Anna Davis. Anna Davis feigned obedience, secretly contacted her father's people, and before leaving, absconded with Ethan Reed's billions of dollars. By the time Ethan Reed found out, the company was bankrupt, reporters swarmed them, and the two eventually met a tragic end in an abandoned lot. Ethan Reed, take Anna Davis to the company's medical center, it's all our people there. Go to the public hospital. The public hospital is too crowded, and there are too many prying eyes. The reporters are definitely waiting there already, and those unscrupulous media outlets will twist Anna Davis' story in who knows what way. That's exactly what I want, a lot of people and prying eyes. Things have reached this point, and we need to play this last move perfectly. Only then will Daniel Gray completely give up on Anna Davis, and Charlotte Hayes can finally feel secure as Mrs. Gray. Stop talking so much. Anna Davis is tired, just rest for a bit. Anna Davis bit down hard on her lower lip to keep from making a sound. The familiar warmth radiating from Ethan Reed now filled Anna Davis with dread. This car, which had once held so much laughter for Anna Davis and Ethan Reed, now felt like a living hell. Anna Davis finally understood why, after Daniel Gray's infidelity and their divorce, a privileged man like Ethan Reed had relentlessly pursued Anna Davis. Now it was clear that it was never love at all, but merely a means to clear the path for Charlotte Hayes. The two men Anna Davis had poured her heart and soul into loving during the first half of her life, incredibly, were both fixated on the same woman, and that woman wasn't Anna Davis. The thought sent a nauseating sensation churning in her heart and stomach. Anna Davis finally couldn't hold it back. Gripping the car seat and bending over, she began to dry heave violently. Anna Davis' sounds instantly jolted the previously sleeping Ethan Reed awake. He quickly leaned over, gently patting Anna Davis' back as he softly asked, "Honey, sweetheart, what's wrong? Just hold on a little longer, we'll be at the hospital soon." As he spoke, he picked up Anna Davis' usual cup from beside the driver's seat and handed it to her. The water in the cup was just the right temperature. Ethan Reed always managed such details perfectly. "Honey, sweetheart, take it slow." Ethan Reed leaned closer as he spoke. Anna Davis listened to Ethan Reed calling her, "Honey, sweetheart," over and over, and a wave of nausea swept over her again. A few minutes later, Anna Davis finally felt a little better. She propped herself up and looked out the window. The car happened to be passing by a hospital owned by Reed Holdings. Ethan Reed's body stiffened slightly, but he quickly composed himself and pulled Anna Davis into his embrace, his expression back to normal. He gently brushed a strand of hair from her ear and softly explained to Anna Davis, "Honey, sweetheart, the doctors at the company's medical center are still limited in their expertise. Now that I've finally gotten you back, I don't want anything else to go wrong. I've scheduled an appointment with the best specialist for you. We'll get you thoroughly checked out. Don't worry, I'll keep the reporters behind me, just like I did a moment ago." After saying this, a gentle kiss landed on Anna Davis' cheek. Anna Davis turned her head away to look out the window, sighing helplessly to herself. What could Anna Davis say? 3 years of marriage, Anna Davis had been kept by Ethan Reed like a kept woman in a cage, and apart from the $1 million credit line she controlled each month, she had long been powerless over everything else. Anna Davis slightly curved her lips and agreed to Ethan Reed's words, "Okay, whatever you arrange." Anna Davis' usual docile obedience satisfied Ethan Reed greatly. Ethan Reed shifted slightly and glanced at the driver bodyguard through the rearview mirror. "Mark, when we get to the hospital, make sure you protect Anna Davis well." Mark nodded after their eyes met in the rearview mirror. But a few seconds later, he gave Anna Davis a meaningful look. Anna Davis, of course, knew the meaning behind that gaze. It was probably the guilt of a person with a conscience. The car quickly drove into Olympia City General Hospital. This was the most renowned top-tier hospital in the country. Besides the swarming reporters, there were crowds of ordinary citizens. The moment Anna Davis stepped out of the car, she was surrounded by reporters. Mark and Ethan Reed indeed shielded Anna Davis, but how could the strength of 2 people hold back the crowd? Sure enough, it wasn't long before Mark was knocked down in the crowd. The moment Mark fell, the reporters' cameras and microphones were shoved into Anna Davis' face. "Mrs. Reed, if you don't mind me asking, you were abducted by criminals on your birthday. Was it because your attire was too revealing that day and attracted the culprit's attention?" "Mrs. Reed, Mr. Reed just said the criminals didn't harm you, but looking at the marks on your body, any adult would understand." "Did Mr. Reed tell a white lie to protect you?" "Mrs. Reed, do you think your marital status with Mr. Reed will change after this incident?" "Mrs. Reed, if Mr. Reed continues to love you as always after this incident, then you'd owe him an endless debt of gratitude. Wouldn't you say I'm right?" These words pierced her heart like knives. Anna Davis looked at Ethan Reed, who was desperately trying to shield her from the reporters in front of her, and remembering what Ethan Reed and Mark had said in the card just now, large tears streamed down her face. The man Anna Davis had entrusted her entire life and deepest love to had actually brought her the greatest storm of her life? It was utterly ridiculous. Anna Davis curled up in the crowd like a stray dog without a master, allowing the reporters' feet to step all over her clothes and body. "Mark, what are you doing?" Accompanied by Ethan Reed's angry roar, Mark finally stood up from the crowd. They cooperated so well. Anna Davis had accompanied Ethan Reed countless times to deal with these reporters, so she was more than familiar with the routine. Anna Davis knew that the reporters had already captured everything they wanted to film. Even if Anna Davis had remained silent, it wouldn't matter. The reporters' pens would write the answers Ethan Reed desired: a disgraced wealthy wife and a devoted dominant CEO. This was always the media's favorite material. Naturally, the reporters didn't dare displease Ethan Reed, so after that angry roar, the surrounding reporters gradually dispersed. Ethan Reed immediately stepped forward and helped Anna Davis up from the ground, gently brushing the filth, grime, for bodies, from her while softly comforting her. "Honey, sweetheart, don't take what those people say to heart. After something like this, I'll only love you more than ever." After saying this, he turned around and kicked Mark. "Mark, I told you in the car to protect Anna Davis. What were you doing? If this happens again, you can go back to your hometown, and don't follow me anymore. You're useless." What brilliant acting! The hospital specialists were already waiting. As soon as Anna Davis arrived, they pulled her in for a series of examinations. A few hours later, the doctor left Ethan Reed alone in the room. Anna Davis seized the opportunity while Mark went to pay the bill, standing by the door and overhearing the doctor's words. "Her uterus is irreparably damaged. Your wife was already pregnant, unfortunately, but she won't be able to have children in the future. The psychiatrist also said your wife's mental state is problematic. She occasionally talks to herself, and is afraid of contact with strangers. This far exceeds the scope of PTSD. So, try to control public opinion when you go back to avoid causing your wife further harm. It shouldn't be difficult for the Reed family to achieve this." Anna Davis couldn't hear the rest of what the doctor said. She had been pregnant when it happened. Anna Davis touched her flat abdomen. So Ethan Reed had not only harmed Anna Davis, but also killed her child. Anna Davis stumbled into the hospital corridor. Her legs gave out, and she collapsed in the hallway. A few minutes later, Mark's familiar voice came from the hallway. "Ethan Reed, just as you wanted. Anna Davis really can't have any more children. I just didn't expect that she was already pregnant. We have another life on our hands. What a sin, how horrific." Ethan Reed didn't reply to Mark for a long time. After a moment of silence, Mark stammered, "Also, Ethan Reed, the doctor said all that those reporters should we still let them publish it in the media? Publish it?" After he spoke, the two left. After calming down, Anna Davis took out her phone. She found a job offer from an animation studio abroad that had been sent 6 months ago and accepted it. A few minutes later, she received a reply email. According to the time stated in the email, Anna Davis booked herself a plane ticket for 2 days later. A cage of love, once love was gone, became a complete shackles. There was no longer any reason to linger. Right after booking the plane ticket, she received a call from Ethan Reed. Ethan Reed's voice on the other end of the line was anxious. "Honey, sweetheart, where did you go? I couldn't find you anywhere." "I'm still at the hospital, just stepped out for some fresh air." "I see you." After she got into the car, Ethan Reed immediately pulled Anna Davis into his arms and held her tightly. "Honey, sweetheart, please don't ever make me worry like that again, okay?" Anna Davis forced back her tears and nodded. Ethan Reed had Mark drive the car back home. The moment they entered the gate, Anna Davis saw Mrs. Reed arranging flowers in the garden, and Charlotte Hayes assisting her nearby. "Honey, sweetheart, after what happened to you, Mrs. Reed was so worried she insisted on coming to see you. You know, Charlotte Hayes majored in psychology for her master's, so I specifically asked her to come and talk to you." If Mrs. Reed were asked to name the person she disliked the most, it would undoubtedly be Anna Davis. So, she certainly wouldn't have been so kind as to come and see Anna Davis. Sure enough, the moment Anna Davis got out of the car, Mrs. Reed walked over, arm in arm with Charlotte Hayes. She looked at Anna Davis with a face full of disdain and disgust. "How dare you come back looking like that after being ruined by another man? You should have died out there, and made room for our Charlotte Hayes." Hearing Mrs. Reed say this, Ethan Reed gently pulled Anna Davis into his embrace. "Mrs. Reed, you're always sharp-tongued but a good heart. Can't you say something heartwarming, comforting when you're concerned about Anna Davis?" Mrs. Reed vigorously flicked her sleeves, and said coldly, "Care about her? In your next life. I came here this time just to see when you two are getting divorced. I want Charlotte Hayes to be my daughter-in-law." As she spoke, she pushed Charlotte Hayes toward Ethan Reed, gazing at the two of them as if admiring a painting. "Look how perfect they are together." Charlotte Hayes' body was already pressed against Ethan Reed's chest. "Mrs. Reed, what are you saying? Charlotte Hayes is a married woman." Ethan Reed's words were a refusal, but his body involuntarily leaned towards Charlotte Hayes. Charlotte Hayes merely chuckled softly without speaking. Seeing the three of them so harmonious in front of her, Anna Davis couldn't bear to stay any longer. "Ethan Reed, Anna Davis is a bit tired. You stay and keep Charlotte Hayes and Mrs. Reed company." Ethan Reed was probably already lost in Charlotte Hayes' tender embrace. He didn't even look at Anna Davis, simply grunting twice to indicate his agreement. When Anna Davis went upstairs and looked out from the balcony, Charlotte Hayes had already hooked her arm through Ethan Reed's. Mrs. Reed's sharp voice drifted in from outside. "Ethan Reed, hurry up and make that woman leave the Reed family. She's an absolute jinx to look at." As for Charlotte Hayes, Ethan Reed refers to the role, he's useless too. "You two figure out a good time, and hurry up and get married." Hearing Mrs. Reed say this, Ethan Reed looked at Charlotte Hayes with eyes full of deep affection. But Charlotte Hayes' evasive expression brought an endless bitterness to Ethan Reed's eyes. Anna Davis didn't have the strength to watch any longer. She returned to bed, curled up under the covers, and fell into a deep sleep. When she woke again, it was already dark. Drowsily, she heard Ethan Reed's familiar voice coming from outside the door. "Charlotte Hayes, do you know how happy I was when Mrs. Reed pushed you next to me today? That's a scene I've dreamed of countless times. I've been able to get everything I've ever wanted in this life, except for you." Ethan Reed's voice was hoarse, with a hint of a sob. Anna Davis had never seen Ethan Reed so vulnerable. Anna Davis quietly got out of bed, walked to the door, and opened a crack. Charlotte Hayes held Ethan Reed in her arms, gently stroking his back and softly comforting him. "Ethan Reed, I have many regrets too. I just didn't expect you to make such a huge sacrifice for me. Ethan Reed, you've suffered so much." Hearing Charlotte Hayes say this, Ethan Reed suddenly kissed Charlotte Hayes' lips like a madman. Charlotte Hayes froze for a moment, then tilted her head back and responded passionately. After a moment of passionate entanglement, Ethan Reed whispered softly, "It's not hard, Charlotte Hayes. As long as you're happy and joyful, nothing I do feels hard." Before Ethan Reed could finish speaking, Charlotte Hayes tore Ethan Reed's shirt and passionately kissed him. Anna Davis couldn't bear to watch any longer and closed the door. A few minutes later, Anna Davis heard the guest room door open, followed by sounds of pleasure emanating from the guest room. Her stomach began to churn uncontrollably. It felt as if a fire was raging in her chest with nowhere to escape. Anna Davis stared at the wall in front of her and violently slammed her head against it. After a wave of dizziness, that feeling finally subsided a little. Anna Davis turned around, looked at her ghastly reflection in the mirror, and burst into uncontrollable sobs. She sat in the room in a daze until dawn. Ethan Reed never returned. The guest room next door was filled with continuous soft laughter. As dawn gradually broke, the bedroom door was pushed open from outside. It wasn't Ethan Reed who entered, but Charlotte Hayes. Charlotte Hayes looked at Anna Davis, slumped on the floor, and burst out laughing. Pointing at Anna Davis' nose, she said sharply, "Daniel Gray used to love you so much." "So what? I just crooked my finger, and he was in my bed." And what if Ethan Reed married you and brought you home? He still got into my bed right here in your own house. Anna Davis, I used to hate seeing you so arrogant. Well, now look at you, you're a slut cursed by everyone. Do you know that, when Ethan Reed arranged for you to be harmed, he knew you were pregnant? But what difference did that make? He still showed no mercy. While you were bleeding profusely, he was with me at the golf course. My shot that day was absolutely perfect. Your screams echoed over the golf course, so sweet to hear. Charlotte Hayes' words left Anna Davis frozen in place as if struck by lightning. So Ethan Reed had known about her pregnancy all along. It was bad enough that Ethan Reed had humiliated Anna Davis for this malicious woman, but he hadn't even spared their child. Charlotte Hayes paced back and forth in front of Anna Davis, her face alight with smug satisfaction as she looked at Anna Davis' distraught appearance. Anna Davis couldn't take it anymore. She stepped forward and grabbed Charlotte Hayes by the neck, but Anna Davis' body hadn't recovered yet, and her strength was too weak. Before she could do anything to Charlotte Hayes, she ripped open her throat and screamed for help toward the door. Ethan Reed, come quickly and save me. Anna Davis has gone mad, Ethan Reed. The bedroom door was violently pushed open from outside by Ethan Reed. Ethan Reed shoved Anna Davis to the ground and pulled Charlotte Hayes into his embrace, softly asking, Charlotte Hayes, what's wrong? Why are you two arguing all of a sudden? Charlotte Hayes looked at Ethan Reed, tears streaming down her face. Ethan Reed, I told you before I came. I wanted to help Anna Davis with her mental state from a professional perspective. This method involves having her recount what happened, but I never imagined she would try to strangle me. She burst into tears as she spoke. Ethan Reed turned to Anna Davis, his eyes filled with ice. Ethan Reed. Shut up, Anna Davis. I don't understand why you have such a big prejudice against Charlotte Hayes. She kindly came to comfort you, and what do? Try to murder her. I'm truly ashamed to have a wife like you. It's disgusting. After saying this, he scooped up Charlotte Hayes and turned to leave. Before leaving, Charlotte Hayes looked at Anna Davis and flashed a triumphant smile. Tears soaked her clothes. Anna Davis looked around the home she and Ethan Reed had meticulously decorated together. Looking at her ghastly reflection in the mirror, she burst into loud laughter. So everything was a lie. Since they were so determined to destroy Anna Davis, then Anna Davis wouldn't make it easy for them either. With that thought, Anna Davis took out her phone. She dialed the number she knew by heart but hadn't called in years. After Ethan Reed left that room, he felt a twinge of regret. He felt his words had been too harsh, especially since Charlotte Hayes didn't seem to be seriously harmed. Sure enough, as soon as they left, Charlotte Hayes clamored to go to the mall to see that limited edition designer bag. Ethan Reed hesitated for a moment, but recalling Anna Davis' usual obedience, he gradually relaxed. At the mall, he took advantage of Charlotte Hayes' inattention to call Mark, asking Mark to go home and check on Anna Davis. After hanging up, Ethan Reed completely put his mind at ease. Mark alone was enough to handle Anna Davis' matter. All day, Ethan Reed took Charlotte Hayes around like a couple deeply in love, spending the entire day at the mall. As dusk fell, Charlotte Hayes finally complained of being tired and wanted to go back. Back in the car, Ethan Reed finally let out a breath. When he picked up his phone, he found over 100 missed calls. They were all from Mark. Ethan Reed's heart sank. He started the car and called back. The call was answered as soon as it rang. Mark on the other end of the line was extremely frantic. Ethan Reed, this is bad. Anna Davis is gone, and the billions of dollars in liquid funds from the company's account have vanished. And somehow, reporters found out and are all blocking the company's entrance. Mark's words made Ethan Reed's breath catch for a moment. Feeling a bit dizzy, he said coldly to Mark on the phone, "Don't panic, Mark. Slow down, what exactly happened?" But Mark on the other end seemed to be going crazy with panic, his voice growing increasingly urgent. Ethan Reed, there's no time to explain slowly. It's two things, Anna Davis is gone, we've searched all over Olympia City, and can't find her. And all the liquid funds in the company's account are gone too. I'm going crazy here, Ethan Reed. Please come back quickly. The shareholders got news from somewhere, and now they're all blocking the company entrance, demanding answers. Oh, and the media. This time, Ethan Reed hung up before Mark could finish. Mark had been with him for over 10 years. He had never been this flustered before. Even when Ethan Reed ordered Anna Davis, who was pregnant, to be kidnapped, Mark had only smiled bitterly and still followed the order. Ethan Reed knew something serious had happened. Billions of dollars in liquid funds gone. Ethan Reed could have solved that even if it cost him his life, but now that the reporters knew, it would be difficult to handle. The company had operated in Olympia City for over a decade, consistently known for its integrity. Now, with the money in the accounts gone without a trace, not only could he not explain it to the shareholders, but it also clearly told everyone that there were severe internal management problems within the company. This crisis of trust was enough to cripple a century-old enterprise, let alone Reed Holdings, which had only just secured a foothold in the market. And how could Anna Davis have simply vanished into thin air? Mark was well versed in both legitimate and illicit dealings. There was no one Mark couldn't find. Yet now, Mark had no news whatsoever. Thinking of the criminals who had kidnapped Anna Davis a while ago, their leering smiles spun in his mind. Could it be that Mark hadn't done a clean job, and they had come back for revenge? Then Anna Davis. Ethan Reed dared not think further. First, he had to go to the company and resolve the corporate issues. Today, even if he had to dig 3 feet deep, he would find Anna Davis. Ethan Reed pressed down hard on the accelerator several times, speeding towards the company. Charlotte Hayes, who had been sitting in the passenger seat, had no idea what was happening. She didn't understand business matters. She had faintly heard someone on the phone say that Anna Davis was gone, and remembering what she had said to Anna Davis in Anna Davis' room this morning, as well as Anna Davis' state at the time, Charlotte Hayes couldn't help but feel a little excited. It seemed her words had worked. If Anna Davis left, then this man in front of her would dedicate himself even more wholeheartedly to her. The thought of Olympia City's to the city's most powerful men being wrapped around her finger made Charlotte Hayes even more smug. Ethan Reed vaguely sensed that Charlotte Hayes beside him seemed to be smiling. Before Ethan Reed could ask her why, Charlotte Hayes reached out and touched Ethan Reed's thigh. Ethan Reed, are you really that anxious just because Anna Davis ran away? It's just a woman's petty trick. If you act like this, I'll get angry. Scenes like this often happened between them in the past. Facing his superficial concern for Anna Davis, Charlotte Hayes would always pretend to be jealous. Ethan Reed used to be very happy when he saw Charlotte Hayes like this. He couldn't legitimately stand by Charlotte Hayes as her husband, but he could enjoy her wifely possessiveness. But this time, when Ethan Reed faced such a scene, he felt annoyed. He subconsciously shifted his thigh away. This slight movement didn't escape Charlotte Hayes' eyes. She quickly withdrew her hand and her face turned cold. Ethan Reed, stop the car. I'm getting out. Charlotte Hayes always enjoyed acting petty, and Ethan Reed knew this was her way of expressing displeasure. Usually, a few words of coaxing or transferring a few $100,000 would be enough. But now, Ethan Reed had no patience for it. He pulled the car over and lightly pressed the brake. Looking at Charlotte Hayes' astonished face, he said coldly, get out. I have urgent matters, and I can't be delayed. Charlotte Hayes had never seen Ethan Reed so cold. For a moment, she was stunned. But seeing the hint of indifference in the man's eyes next to her, she knew Ethan Reed was serious. She had always been cherished by men, so she naturally couldn't stand such humiliation. So she turned, picked up her bag from the back seat, opened the car door, and got out. The moment she closed the door, she hoped Ethan Reed would explain himself. But Ethan Reed slammed the accelerator, leaving her with only his receding back. After Charlotte Hayes got out, Ethan Reed suddenly felt a sense of relief. He picked up his phone and frantically started calling Anna Davis, but the phone repeatedly told him that the other party's phone was off. Ethan Reed thought back to when he and Anna Davis had just gotten married after one occasion when Ethan Reed was drunk from a business dinner, and Mark drove him home. Anna Davis had leaned on his shoulder and said, Ethan Reed, remember to call me in situations like this from now on. You're a married man now, you know. From then on, Anna Davis' phone was always on for him, 24/7. In the early hours of Olympia City, there were few cars on the road. Anna Davis had, countless times, at a single call from Ethan Reed, gone out in the middle of the night to bring the utterly drunk Ethan Reed home. People in their circle envied Ethan Reed for having such a good wife. But at the time, Ethan Reed didn't think much of it. He was completely devoted to his unattainable love, Charlotte Hayes. He even constantly told himself that Anna Davis must have fallen in love with his power and money. Yet, despite 3 years of marriage, Anna Davis hadn't spent as much money as Charlotte Hayes did in a single day. As for Anna Davis' family matters, they had never caused Ethan Reed any concern. In fact, since their marriage, Ethan Reed had never once called his in-laws across the ocean. The green light in front of him suddenly turned red. Ethan Reed slammed on the brakes, stopping the car in the middle of the road. He shook his head, not understanding why these fragmented memories were suddenly flooding his mind. Ethan Reed looked at the brightly lit company building in the distance, and suddenly snapped back to reality. Now was not the time to think about such things. The car had just driven into the company's main gate, when Ethan Reed was startled by the sight before him. Judging by the scene, it seemed almost every media outlet, large and small, from all over Olympia City had arrived. Ethan Reed's car was well known to reporters. Even an intern from a tabloid knew it. So in an instant, Ethan Reed was surrounded by reporters. Mark desperately tried to push through the crowd to protect Ethan Reed, but with so many people, no matter how much Mark yelled, he couldn't move an inch. Upstairs, a large group of shareholders were waiting for him. Ethan Reed let out a long breath, gritted his teeth, and opened the car door. Seeing Ethan Reed get out of the car, the reporters swarmed him like mad. In the past, when facing these reporters, it was always during company press conferences, where Ethan Reed would arrange some pre-prepared questions. The reporters would sit obediently in the audience, asking him one question after another that he knew by heart. Now, this was Ethan Reed's first time facing such a scene. For some reason, he felt a hint of fear. Ethan Reed suddenly remembered the scene a few days ago, when Anna Davis faced these same reporters, and a bitter feeling rose in his heart. The reporters didn't give Ethan Reed any more time. One sharp question after another was hurled at him. Mr. Reed, the money in your company's accounts vanished in an instant. Does this mean Reed Holdings has no regard for its shareholders' interests? Mr. Reed, this matter is so suspicious. Could it be embezzlement on your part? Mr. Reed, does this kind of behavior in business mean that Reed Holdings' credit has collapsed? Can shareholders still trust you? Today, a colleague saw you and Mrs. Gray from Gray Enterprises walking arm in arm at Grandview Mall. Mr. Reed, can you explain what's going on? Your wife hasn't appeared today. Did the recent incident make you tire of her and turn your affections to someone else? If that's truly the case, then what about the promises you made to your wife in front of the media a while ago? The incessantly flashing camera lights stung Ethan Reed's eyes. These reporters didn't give Ethan Reed a chance to explain at all. Ethan Reed had once been the high and mighty chairman of Reed Holdings. These reporters used to be like mice before a cat when they saw Ethan Reed. But now that something had happened to Reed Holdings, they could immediately size up the situation and bully Ethan Reed like this. That day at the hospital, the scene of Anna Davis cowering on the ground reappeared in Ethan Reed's mind. At the time, Ethan Reed hadn't imagined that a few days later, he would experience the same thing as Anna Davis. Ethan Reed couldn't help but smile bitterly. Was this karma, retribution? The thought of the large number of shareholders waiting upstairs for his explanation made his head ache. Mark finally pushed through the obstacles and reached Ethan Reed's side. Ethan Reed, hiding behind Mark, stumbled out of the crowd. On the way to the company lobby, Mark couldn't stop sighing. With Mark's help, they finally managed to get into the elevator. Looking at the reporters blocked by security guards outside the door, Ethan Reed secretly let out a sigh of relief. He grabbed Mark in front of him, his voice trembling slightly. Is there any news about Anna Davis? Mark slowly turned around, looked at Ethan Reed, and shook his head. All the guys have been sent out. We've practically turned Olympia City upside down, but there's no news at all. The moment Mark's voice fell silent, the elevator stopped at Ethan Reed's office on the top floor. Before the elevator doors even opened, Ethan Reed heard angry curses from outside the door. Ethan Reed punched the elevator door hard. Why were all these terrible things happening at once? He unconsciously muttered a curse, smoothed his crumpled shirt, and stepped out with Mark. 7 hours later, Anna Davis landed at Arion International Airport. Mr. David Davis was already waiting for Anna Davis at the airport. Along with Mr. David Davis, there was also a young man who looked exactly like Mark. He was Mark's older brother, Kevin. That's right, Anna Davis had known Mark and Kevin for a long time. They were a pair of twin brothers, whom Mr. David Davis had sponsored 20 years ago. Mark was naturally free-spirited, so he dropped out of school early and stayed in Olympia City, following Ethan Reed. Kevin's temperament was different from Mark's. He had been diligent in his studies since childhood, which was why Mr. David Davis had supported him through to his PhD graduation. After graduation, Kevin stayed by Mr. David Davis' side and became his capable assistant. Kevin majored in economics, but he had a nimble mind and dabbled in various subjects. He was especially an expert in computer science. The call Anna Davis made that day was to Kevin. Draining Reed Holdings' money without leaving a trace was the simplest task for Kevin. Anna Davis knew that if this money disappeared from Reed Holdings' accounts for just a few days, Reed Holdings, which had only just established itself in Olympia City, would face bankruptcy. In fact, Anna Davis had recognized Mark from the very first day she met Ethan Reed. The day Ethan Reed told Mark the plan, Kevin immediately informed Anna Davis. But the international call caused too much delay, and by the time Anna Davis received the news, it was already too late. Ethan Reed was meticulous in his planning, and he hadn't told Mark the full details of the plan. Therefore, Anna Davis ultimately couldn't escape Ethan Reed's clutches. Mark had helped her leave Olympia City. He chose a route to the airport that Ethan Reed would never notice. Anna Davis knew that Ethan Reed trusted Mark, so delaying Ethan Reed for a few hours was certainly possible. Anna Davis, trust your father. I definitely won't let Ethan Reed get away with this. Stay here and rest easy, leave the rest to me. Her father's warm, broad chest once again gave Anna Davis strength. Over the years, Mr. David Davis had been very low-key in Arian. So few people knew that Mr. David Davis' business was very extensive. After she married Ethan Reed had always thought Anna Davis was just a well-behaved girl from a middle-class family, and had completely disregarded Anna Davis' family. At the time, because Anna Davis liked it, Mr. David Davis hadn't said much, and so Ethan Reed's indifference towards him had been left unaddressed. Mr. David Davis had Anna Davis when he was in his 40s. He loved Anna Davis as the apple of his eye. So Anna Davis knew that this time, Ethan Reed's disaster was truly upon him. On the way home, Kevin looked at the messages on his phone. He turned to Mr. David Davis and said in a deep voice, "Uncle David, the Reed family is in an uproar. The news in the media has gone viral, and shareholders have been camped on the top floor of Reed Tower for an entire day and night. It seems that monster, beast is in for a tough time." Hearing Kevin's words, Anna Davis opened her phone. She saw shocking headlines that immediately caught her eye. Reed Holdings bankrupt. Chairman Ethan Reed suspected of embezzlement, illegally transferring billions of company assets, disregarding shareholders' and investors' trust. Utterly shameless. Hypocrite Ethan Reed. Only knows how to use official language to deceive the public. We demand justice. Judicial authorities intervene. Reed Holdings facing lawsuit. Chairman Ethan Reed potentially facing prison time. In the darkness, Mr. David Davis said in a deep voice, "Kevin, was everything handled cleanly?" "Perfectly clean. They won't trace it back to us." "Good. Then continue." "This isn't enough." Kevin nodded in response to Mr. David Davis' words. Mr. David Davis reached out, took Anna Davis' hand in his palm, and said softly, "Anna Davis, get a good night's sleep. When you wake up tomorrow, it will be a new world, a new life. Trust your father." Mr. David Davis' words put Anna Davis at ease. But late at night, Anna Davis couldn't sleep in her room. She worried Mr. David Davis might do something foolish out of impulse for her sake. The light in Mr. David Davis' study was still on. People kept coming and going, besides Kevin. Anna Davis stayed in her room, nervously refreshing her phone. An hour later, the media released another bombshell, confirmed. Reed Holdings chairman Ethan Reed's affair with Mrs. Gray of Gray Enterprises exposed. Undeniably a scumbag. According to Ethan Reed's personal assistant, the inhuman torment Mrs. Reed suffered days ago was orchestrated by Ethan Reed himself. At the time of the incident, Mrs. Reed was already pregnant. But the psychopathic Ethan Reed did not stop. This is a monster, beast. Such a person living in this world is intolerable. In an instant, Ethan Reed dominated the trending topics of all media outlets in Olympia City, big and small. Half an hour later, the media released another piece of news. A pariah Ethan Reed attempted to flee, was cornered and beaten by an angry citizens mob at the company building entrance. Below were many pictures and videos. Anna Davis casually clicked on one. The scene in the video made Anna Davis freeze in place. In the video, Ethan Reed was wearing a janitor's uniform, cowering in a corner. A group of people of various ages and attire surrounded Ethan Reed, gritting their teeth, violently kicking Ethan Reed while roaring, "Monster, beast! A monster, beast who harmed his own wife and killed his own son. You don't deserve to live in this world." Ethan Reed raised his head and looked at the people in front of him. For the first time, Anna Davis saw fear in Ethan Reed's eyes. Anna Davis repeatedly paused the video at the moment Ethan Reed lifted his head, looking at the once high and mighty Ethan Reed now in this state. Anna Davis trembled with excitement. So Ethan Reed was nothing more than this. After this news, the media was silent for a long time. In the early hours of the morning, Anna Davis refreshed her feed and found new news: Reed Holdings chairman Ethan Reed and mistress suspected dead, identities awaiting confirmation. A few minutes later, the news exploded again: Ethan Reed confirmed dead, mistress Charlotte Hayes confirmed dead. Both died horrifically. Their naked bodies, covered in filth, grime, for bodies, were discovered by passing villagers in an abandoned lot. Below were many photos from the scene. Although they were all blurred out, Anna Davis could still see the naked Charlotte Hayes and Ethan Reed. 2 hours later, the news was updated again. Mrs. Reed, unable to bear the news of her son's death, jumped. Her head splattered on impact from the top floor of Reed Tower. Anna Davis read these explosive news updates again and again. She didn't know how many times she had read them, only that her fingers had gradually become numb and stiff from rapid scrolling. Anna Davis then realized her clothes were soaked with sweat. As she was in a daze, a knock sounded at the door. "Anna Davis, it's your father." Anna Davis looked up and realized it was already broad daylight. She had unknowingly sat there all night. Anna Davis ran off the bed, opened the door, and plunged into Mr. David Davis' embrace. Mr. David Davis gently patted Anna Davis' back and said softly, "You didn't sleep at all last night, did you? Did you see all the news?" Anna Davis mumbled into Mr. David Davis' chest, "Dad, I'm worried about you." Mr. David Davis suddenly let out a hearty laugh. "Silly child, your father will be fine." Kevin had appeared behind Mr. David Davis at some point. Looking at Mr. David Davis' back, he said in a deep voice, "Uncle David, the criminals who harmed Miss Anna Davis have been found. How do you want to deal with them? Mark's flight is today, isn't it? Have him bring those monster beast back as well." Kevin nodded and turned to leave. Mr. David Davis leaned down, looked at the sweating Anna Davis, and said with a smile, "Anna Davis, your new life has begun.